Hello again, in the third episode of trying to find out what I did here. No, I make fun. To the third episode of my chat, where I explain how things work on my chat and what I did and how I did it. First thing is, you notice I started immediately with Login.js. Because in the other episodes I already explained how main.js, which handles all information, and main.inc.php handles all information, and also how API works. So if you didn't see it, go to my channel or on my website. There should be a playlist of the first two episodes. So watch them first before you continue, because you won't understand everything if you don't watch the first episode. As you can see, I have here some strange code. I have here window.conf.login. There is an object, username, password, submit, and some DOM element which is parsed in. And here is some really weird shit, conf.login.submit.onClick, which really just takes conf, login, submit, so the DOM element, on click. So you can always change which button should be activating the login function, which is this function here down. What it does is it takes then all user data, an email if it's existing, which is for registry, something like that, and takes this data and pushes into email. Password pushes the value as well, but password v is something important because it's generally not always used, so don't worry. This function also will change. It won't contain email or password v, because this is just login, so you just get username and password, and it will just test this and return an error if something went wrong. And this here will be disappearing, because there is a different function in Register which we cover later, for a bit at least. The thing is, everything is handled inside the conf variable. As you can see, I use it everywhere. So you can save every thing you have to change maybe later inside this conf variable. Only thing is the DOM variables, you can't save them inside the conf itself. Here you have to change it inside every file, because otherwise I think it wouldn't be that good to find it. Here you can immediately find, okay, I have login.js, so there's login handled, so here should be everything which handles login. Yeah. It takes all data, checks after that if it's existing, which I already taught in the last two episodes what exists is. If not, it responds with an error, which you can write for yourself on main.js, and takes the error of username. Otherwise, it takes the error of password and returns, so it doesn't execute the rest of the code. After that, it sets response to false. And if an email exists, which, as I said, will be disappearing, it will normally register this whole thing. But this will change if email doesn't exist, which is normally the case. It will just use password and username and push it to the server, and there it will handle everything. Returns in JSON code, encoded, encrypted, but then decrypted in request. So you have just a JSON inside response, and if response.error is there, you can just error it, Otherwise it will just save a token and retoken, which we covered in the last, I think in the first episode, where we talked a bit about login.php, a bit at least. You saw it a bit, yeah. So this is what it gets. Yeah, and it will also, which I right now turned off, change your location to the response URL. So you can also change where the user should be going after he's logging in, and if it's successful, where it should go. So yeah. And Registry Register Js is really similar. It has the conflict register, takes a username, email, password v, which is verify. It's just a repeating verify, which I have here. Repeat password. And tests also if it's submitted. If yes, it takes all values. In this way, not all values, just the elements itself. If an element is missing, it will return an error. Or return just. Otherwise, it will set the username to the value of the username really. So this will be done 3 times. The 4th time it will check if password v is equal true, which means do you want that such thing is there. For example, some websites use just one password field, so you just set a password for your profile, but others want that you are sure which password you have chosen. So you have to repeat it, so it's the same. And if you want to use it, you can just set it true, but if not, you just set it to false, and it will just set it to false as well. And then just makes a request and registers yourself. Yeah. So those 2 functions are really small but really complex, but they do their job. Maybe we look back to the PHP functions. There we have login.php. If you want to request this function login, you just have to send as action login, and then it will handle it. And test if username, password, and so on is there, and so on. After that, it will select the data, checks if it's existing. So if username isn't existing in the database, it will return an error. If password is true, it will go on, else it will return an error as well. And then it will take all data, delete the temp data, which I explained in detail in one of the last episodes, generate 2 new tokens, 2 new tokens, save them, and then return them to the client itself. And similarly, register.php does mostly the same. There I have to explain some things more. Register checks if username, email, password, and password v is existing. Here, as I said, I have to make here an if. So if you don't want to use it, it just doesn't cover it and just continues. And this here you have it, conf.password v. If it's not set, it will just continue. And yeah, if everything is okay, it will generate an image. And you have 3 types of image generation down here. You can do static, dynamic, and generate. Static is just one image you can use. It just gets the file contents of image, standard profile images, and then what file you specified. Otherwise, dynamic uses one of the images inside the folder. I think there's something wrong. And just gets one random of them. And generate is a really good function, I would say. I don't know if I have still the codes. 1 and 2. This is my server. test.test.php. I don't quite sure. You don't see that right now, but there's a second code there. No, I don't have it. Okay, wait. Is there the code? Wait, there is a test code. Here's a test code. But it's a different code. But there it is. Wait. I have to code for a second. Wait. I'm there. We set this to 3000, whatever. Let's set it to 90. I think it's some letter. And yeah, return this whole thing. Here you can see I have this function gen image as well. And it will take data username and data ID, which is set here, as value. And data ID is just used for some ID thing, which is not really something important. But username is something important because this is used to make here a letter, the first letter of your name, and a random background. So all the time you upload or update your image, it will use some color. And I think it's a really nice function. So if you want, you can use the generate key thing, which is in conf icon mode, and set it to generate, and then it will always generate a nice image for your clients. In this sense, it's the 19th character in UTF-8, which is a Z, which is really funny because it's the last letter of the alphabet. XYZ, yeah. And makes it a random color in the background. Yeah. So yes, it's generating this. Returns it. It will be saved everything inside AC user as username, email, password, and profile image, just as it is. Otherwise, if something went wrong, it will say, okay, password and password 2 are not the same. But if this is false, which is true on the end because false equals false, it will just bypass this check, so it will just make this. So yeah, this is a bit shorter video as it looks like, but yeah, this is how far I got till now. Don't bother about this new user thing. It's similar, or mostly the same. It's just this generating code as well, and there's some email thing which sends an email to you to verify yourself, which also gets an if. So if you want to verify the user, you can set it in your configuration in alpha chat, or inside the conf. I think it should be one of those two places, and maybe in ac_conf or in conf.inc.php, one of those places. So yeah, you can say, okay, please verify the guy or not. And yeah, so this is the episode for today. I hope you enjoyed it, you understood a bit about my code and how it works. And if you have some problem, just write me in my chat on alphachatdev.com, and otherwise just write a comment maybe under the video of YouTube if you're on YouTube. Otherwise, as I said, write me on alphachat. In both ways I will try to help you in some way, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and maybe we see us in the next episode when we talk about something else. You can see I have a lot of files which are appearing here. I even didn't talk about install.php, json.php, which are here on the side. Secret.txt, this is nothing important. We can delete this. This will be not in your version. It's still a development version, so don't wonder if some things are commented out or something is strange here. SQL.php is also some test code, so don't worry about this. Yeah, and there are a lot of tests. And yeah. But yes, we have to talk about a lot. So let's look. Maybe we can look at this function getVemail, which generates the email itself, and also you can choose how this email should look like if you want. I think we talk about this the next episode. So enjoy your time, and we see us in the next episode, the 4th, I think. Yeah. So we see us. Have a great day.